The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome. I know the slide says it's an open night. However, I didn't change the slide, but it is an open mic night today. So let's just move on from that and let's get stumbled on it. Okay, so this is the wrap up of everything we've been talking about for the last 5 sessions. All right, so let's get the housekeeping done and then we can get into the discussions and talk about what's important to you guys. So, sound check. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? You're sounding much better. Brilliant. Yes, I am. I'm feeling much better. The lurgy has passed and the sound is working. We have success all over the place. Thank you very much, everybody. I've got the sound check done. Brilliant. Now, if the slides are not moving in any way, shape or form, let me know and we'll see what we can do. As a heads up, to make sure that you get the best quality out of the webinar today, make sure that you've got all the programs that are connected to the internet turned off. Okay, you don't need anything else going on. Put your emails on hold, put your phone on silent if you can. Okay, so there's a couple of gets that we need to get through, because what will happen is that any program that's connected to the internet has the potential to disrupt the signal for the webinar. If you find that the sound quality does drop, shut down all your programs. If it hasn't improved, log out and log back in again with everything shut down, and that's it. That's all I know. Okay, so let's get on with this. So, a few gets for you. You've got your technology sorted. Get your phone turned off, put on silent, whichever you can do, and get involved. And getting involved in the webinar is about being an active listener. I've got lots of people saying good morning to me, which is brilliant. Is there someone you can recommend to do transcripts, tape sessions to typing? Not sure. Ask me on Facebook and I'll let you know about that one. Okay, so let's have a look. Lots of people saying good morning and how are you going? So there is lots of information we're going to be going through tonight or today, and it's a roundup of everything that we've been talking about, and it's your chance to get any questions answered that haven't been answered or stuff that's come up that you want a little bit of clarification on. I'm here to support you in your coaching journey and in building your business. You're learning the skills of coaching and looking to implement them into a business format of some sort, whether you've got business experience or not. The opportunity for you to learn and grow is here, and the opportunity is available for you. So we're providing that, and it's really up to you to take advantage of what's going on. Okay, we're essentially opening the door, and then it's up to you to walk through it. Okay, so that's it. What we're looking to do today is to just pick up on everything that we've done. And I need to do something else while I'm talking to you. Okay, so it's get your questions, get an idea of what it is you want to be talking about. And I've just got to find some other things that I had for you. Brilliant. Okay, got my notes. So let's get into this. So this is what it's about. What can I help you with? Okay, we've talked about the business. We've talked about building the business. And it's really getting clear on what it is that you need help with. Okay. So one of the first areas that many business owners fall down in is that they don't spend enough time or any time working on the business. Most business owners are great at what they provide to the customer and spend all their time doing that. What they don't do, however, is to focus on the vision. And you can call it all sorts of things. You can make up all sorts of excuses if you want as a business owner. But it's a vision. Where are you going? What's the point of having a business? I was talking with one guy today, a finance broker, and he's got a client at the moment who's looking to get some finance to purchase a business. He's been a butcher, and now he's looking to buy a fishing business. Okay? The guy doesn't have a business plan and turned his nose up at the whole concept of having a business plan. He's just going, I just want to do the fish. Okay. That's not having a business, that's having a job, because you're going to become a slave to it because you don't know the end game of what it is you want to do. What's the dollar value of what it is you want to achieve? What's the net worth of your efforts that you're going to put into it? And what is it you're creating for yourself? This is the vision. Is it to give yourself a hobby? Is it to give yourself a job? Is it to build a business that will essentially become an asset that gains some net worth as it grows and you develop it? What's the point of what you're doing? From a coaching business, it doesn't matter. Everything has to have a vision. You've got to have a direction to know what it is that you're doing and why you're doing it, because without that, the people perish. You're going to get tired. You're going to get frustrated. You need to have that understanding of why you're getting up in the morning. Now, all through this session, as in all our other lessons, webinars, I'm going to be going through the questions as they come up. Okay, so just type away. I'll give you the code at 10 past. The active listening is exactly this. Get involved, ask the questions, write the responses, have a conversation with me, and then follow it through on Facebook or get in touch with some of your mates there, and then implement. Okay, it's one thing to learn a whole stack of stuff. However, if you're not implementing anything and you're just gaining knowledge, well then you're a cul-de-sac. There's no life, there's no growth. You'll end up being something like a billabong that just has no fresh water flowing into it anymore. You're being abundant, but it goes nowhere. Okay, you want to be part of a flowing stream. You want to be able to get the information, have it move through you, and then being able to impart it through your business to others, use it in some way. But information without implementation, it's just a story. Okay, and we can read lots of stories. You've probably got shelves full of books that you haven't read. The idea is not to have shelves with masses of books. The idea is to have shelves with books that you've read, and books that you've read and implemented from, and books that have made a difference, that you've been able to grow and go, this is why I'm in business, because of these lessons that I'm learning. Okay. Part of what you're doing is you're building your business so that it can become an asset to you. Because if all you're doing is building a job, stay and work for somebody else, because you'll have less headaches and maybe less cash, but you'll have less headaches and better holidays. All right. If you want a business, it's because you want to build something that has purpose, that has meaning, that's going to create a legacy, that's going to become an asset that has some potential for you. Okay. So this is what we're looking at wrapping up. Because essentially people don't buy based on your products. They buy based on your trust, or based on the trust and the respect they get with you. Okay. Being the expert in your field is not the be all and end all. You have to be the expert, and you have to be connected with your people, with your marketplace. Okay, and that connection can come in various ways and in many ways. It can be through any of your social media. It can be through networking. It can be through coffee chats. It can be through sending out emails. It can be bringing them up. Whichever way it is that is appropriate for your business model, there's that connection that people want to build with you. Okay. Let me just check the questions. Got my questions in early. How flexible do we need? This is from Rebecca. How flexible do we need to be when looking at the bigger picture, when it keeps changing in relation to 5-year, 2-year, 12-month, 90-day goals? Do we go with the flow or hold the line? Good question, because it can be, because we've got the vision, is that what we stay hold to? The vision is there to support us, okay? You can change the vision and the goals as you go along, because you get more knowledge, you get more experience, you get a better understanding of where you're going and what you're doing. Change in that way is great, because the vision isn't a set and forget, I've got a vision and that's what I've got to do come hell or high water. Okay, because now you're a slave to the vision. The vision is there to serve you. So you set the vision, and then if you find over time that it changes a bit, well, then that's okay, because if it's changing, well, it means you're getting a better understanding of what you're doing. You've got more clarity around who you want to work with, what you want to do. And so that evolution is okay. It's good. It's to be encouraged, because it means you're getting a better understanding of your marketplace. Okay, so I hope that helps you there, Rebecca. Come back and let me know. Yes, few hellos. More transcripts are done by way with words. Okay, somebody's answering the question. Transcripts are done by way with words. Okay, so you need to go and find more about that. Niching. When niching, this is from Rebecca, when niching in separate areas, do you recommend having separate websites, cards, brochures, etc., or have them within the same site, card, umbrella, and differentiating? Okay, another good one, because you can go both ways. There's no hard and fast rule in that it has to be done this way. The rule is it has to be separate. So you can, within an area, like if, for instance, if you're a relationship coach, as the umbrella, you can have the niche of I work with children, I work with women, I work with men, or you can break that down. So the bigger area that you're working in is relationship, and then within relationship you can have different niches. So in that sense, you can have them all on the one website. Now the thing is, when you're having a conversation with somebody who, for instance, if you're doing a relationship with women, well, you're not going to talk to them about the niche of the children or the niche of the other things that you're doing. When you're having a conversation, it's one thing that you're communicating to one person. Okay, so with your cards and your brochures and everything else, it depends on how distinct you are. If you've got a niche of relationship coaching and then you're a motor mechanic as well as a niche, well then, because they're so different, yes, you would have different websites, different cards, different brochures. You'd have a completely different thing going on. And I have two of my niches are very distinct. I have a grounds maintenance and landscaping business, and I have the coaching business. They have nothing to do with each other. They both have different cards, brochures, front of house. They're not connected in any way, shape or form. So when they're that separate, they have their own entity and their own identity. Okay. However, with the example I used around the relationship, if there's similarities, because it's in a similar sort of umbrella, well, then you can possibly put it all together. And you just want to be careful and really considerate of the person that you're going to be speaking with, and ask yourself the question, will they understand what I'm communicating to them with what I'm presenting? Okay, it's not a matter of what you understand, it's what does your avatar understand when you hand them that brochure? What will your avatar understand when they come to your website? Okay, so you need to step out of who you are and step into the avatar and answer those questions. Okay, another question. So when using the SWOT analysis, and the SWOT is the strength, weakness, opportunity and threat analysis for the external questions, is it okay to answer them from your own perspective, or do you have to get other people's point of view? I'd do both, Jennifer. I'd do both. So step into your avatar and go, okay, when you're doing a competitor analysis, be your avatar and have a look at your clients and go, if you were going to that person, what do they have that you are offering? And then do the same with the other competitors, and then do the same on yourself. So you do a competitor analysis on yourself, asking the same questions you have of your competitors, and that's how you get an idea of how you stack up. Okay, and then do it from your own perspective. The better the understanding and the better the research you do in the beginning means that the model that you create has more strength and more ability to connect with your target market, and then to get them to make a purchase from you. Okay, with the direction vision, how often do you go back to it? Is it a weekly practice? The vision, direction, the bigger picture, I would visit that once a year. The goals to make that happen, they get checked in the 90-day, in the quarterly report, the 90-day planner, and then they get checked again at the 1 year mark. So the bigger vision, I can let it go for 12 months, and then it gets the goals to get me there, get done, like I said, on the quarterly, and that way you can keep an eye on it, and then whatever needs to change, you've got, a pretty good look at what's happening. I heard this week. Okay, Felicity. Okay, heard. Is it a weekly practice? I heard this week. Okay, I think is that what you mean, Felicity, that you heard that it should be weekly? I don't understand the last one. Great metaphor to open up, flowing stream. Thank you. Information doesn't equal knowledge. Knowledge doesn't equal understanding. Understanding doesn't equal wisdom. It's an active process. Brilliant. And that's how I open all my webinars. I invite you in to become active listeners and to become active participants, because it's the way you engage that will determine the stickability of the knowledge that you have, and then the ability to implement as well. So thanks very much. Nice way of putting it, Felicity. Appreciate that. I'm part of a wider holistic health team, and I'm also solo. Not sure how you would keep you in all of that you do. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so are you talking, this is from Sharon, are you talking about being the expert in your field? So there's two different ways you go. You can build a practice, which is about the personality, which is you, or you build a business, which is the holistic practice of which you're a part of the team. So it's really, so depends on the model that the holistic team are working in, and so there mightn't be a place for a solo person in the holistic team. So it could be a practice that you're a member of the team. Okay, I've been working with a naturopath who's been doing the same thing. They're connected to a practice, and so they have one business where they're the practice, and then now they're building the they're building the business as with the other naturopaths, and now they're also building the practice, which is focusing on them being the expert in that area, and they're writing books and doing all sorts of things and developing it. So there's two businesses, and the one person is in both of them. So in one business, it's a practice, because a practice focuses on the personality of the person, and it's all about the person, and it doesn't really become something that you can sell because it's based around you and what you do. The business is something that can be sold because it's not based around you. You're building a list, you're building an asset that is there. So in the practice, you can make great money, you do speaking tours, you develop yourself as the expert, and you're connecting with your people. So it's really a matter of what the business model is, but that's how you would differentiate them. How much time do we spend on marketing? Okay, as much as it takes to get a client. Okay, so as you're doing your marketing, because this is a great question, because when is enough is enough. So it's every week you want to know the numbers of what's going on in your business. You want to know the income that's being brought in. You want to know the expenses. You want to know the social media contacts. You want to know any number that's associated with your business. You want to keep an eye on that. And part of that is then being able to then determine the cost of acquisition of a client. And that means if you're going out to have a coffee chat with somebody, that's time you're spending in terms of your marketing. Are you spending time tweaking your website, doing your social media, sending out reports and writing proposals? All of that stuff becomes part of your marketing plan and your marketing strategy to get a client. And that has to have a dollar value on it. What is the cost of acquisition of a client? And you need to have an understanding of what that is. So then when you say to a client, my rate is $250, you know that cost per client is being built into your hourly rate, because you go, okay, it takes me 5 hours to 6 hours to get a client on board, and then you've got another hour or so that you'd spend either side of the session writing reports, doing all the prep. So for 1 hour of work with a client, for the first hour or for the first month, it might cost you 5 or 6 hours to get that going. Where's that money being covered? Do you get it? I know that that's a long and a deep answer at the same time. However, that's also the very broad picture of what it is. So the cost of marketing is, how does it sit within your budget? So to say that a client might cost $1,000 to get on, that can be okay, because if that client has the potential to bring in $12,000 as a result of fees, well then spend $1,000 to get 12, well then that's okay. But if you have a client where you spend $1,000 and they're only worth $600 to you, well then the cost of the marketing needs to be changed, and the equation needs to be balanced. So there's not an absolute straight answer. You need to know the numbers of the cost of a client, the cost of the program they're going to do, or the purchase that they're going to make, and given how much it's going to spend to get them. So sometimes you might want to spend $1,000 or $2,000 to get a client, because if that client turns out to be a $12,000 or a $20,000 client, that's a good investment. Okay. Thank you very much. Yes, this happened to me yesterday, a big aha moment. Okay, thank you. I was talking to a client about EQ and she wanted some references. I went through the notes from your sessions. Do you have any other references? I would go, depends on what they want to know. Excuse me. LinkedIn has some great groups on EQ that you can go and join, and they have great articles and blogs, and it's the people who are discussing in there are bringing the stuff that's happening today. Now, I'm going to throw it out to you guys. Anyone who's got an EQ, an emotional intelligence reference or book, I don't have anything at my fingertips. I've got today's notes. So if you guys have references that you want to share, I'll read them out. Okay, so Lynn, stay put, and we'll see what we can find for you. Okay, thank you. Sorry, it was a disjointed message. No, that's okay. The holistic team is owned by someone else, and I'm a team member. I also have another area where I'm working directly with people as part of that team. I work on projects where we have a few practitioners, that is weight loss, and I deal with the mindset challenges. Okay, so that's still in line with what I'm talking about, in that if you're working together, well then that's the business that you're all working in. The practice is where you stand alone and you're running your own thing and you're getting the notoriety and the business as a result of what's going on. You can take referrals from people. Okay, so it's a business or a practice. It's a matter of deciding what you want to do or run them both and then have them very differently. But then to try and be a practitioner in a business, well then it starts to get a little bit egocentric, because then you're putting yourself above the business where you should be promoting the business as a whole, because everyone will refer into it from the business. But if you start to set yourself apart and go, this is me, I'm the expert, and that could run to the detriment of other people in the group, you need to be aware of that. Okay, above is just a quick note. Thank you. Do you recommend a percentage of your income that you invest in your business learning? Also, have you got the first code? Brilliant. First code first. It is TCI 215. TCI 215. Okay, somebody's got trouble with the sound. It's dropping in and out. Okay, if you continue to have trouble with the sound, do as I suggested and log out and log back in again. And then if that continues to be a problem, log back in on the phone and just have it as a listen. The slides are available as a PDF on Facebook, so you can get them as well, so you won't miss out too much. It just means you won't be able to ask questions, but otherwise you'll have everything going if you log in on the phone. Okay, do you recommend a percentage of your income that you invest in your business learning? Okay, a percentage, what would I haven't thought of it as a percentage, but it generally works out, if I think about what I've done and what I generally do, I generally have around about a 10%. I have around about 10% that I put back into professional development. And it could be learning a new program, it could be going to a training, it could be doing some personal stuff for me. But I think on average, it works out around about 10%. Now, I'm not sure that there's a rule in inverted commas. However, my rough rule is around about that. How would I present myself as the character my avatar wants me to be when I am not? How do you know? In my example, I'm a peak performance researcher and mindset coach helping athletes. Would love any thoughts on that. Thanks. I assume it's not applicable in my case. Okay. In my case, I'm a peak performance researcher and mindset coach helping athletes. Okay. So what your avatar wants is, and this applies to everybody in whatever area you're working in. The thing about the avatar is that we're building a compilation of who it is we want to do business with. You know, we're giving them a name, we're giving them a whole demographic, we're giving them a whole personality. We want to know everything about them. Part of what we want to know about them is what is their picture of success and what is success to them. And then that picture is who we become. We take on the persona of success, because for the avatar to connect with us, they need to see success in us. The way that they determine success, they need to see that displayed in us. Okay, so in your case, I've got no idea, John, who you are, what you look like, or anything else, so I'm just going to say stuff. So to be a peak performance researcher or mindset coach and working with athletes, I would assume that they would want to work with somebody who has a degree of athleticism about them, that they would see the success that they're striving for displayed in you, in the way that you behave, the way that you talk, the way that you walk, your physique. So if you're 160 kilos over your desired weight and you can't run from the front door of the house to the car, well then why is an athlete going to associate with you? Now, I know I'm just making stuff up, but I'm just giving a really wild example. So if you're working with athletes, I want to work with somebody who is a picture of success, who gets what it is that they're working at developing. So if you're doing peak performance and mindset, well, then they're the things that you have to be displaying back to the client for them to connect with you. And there is an element of the avatar in us, because that's why we work in the area we do, because everything is about perception and projection. Okay, so you need to own that and step into it, okay, because you do become the avatar, because you are the avatar. And that's why you've chosen that area, because there's elements of that in there, because I would not be a peak performance coach, okay? I don't do exercise and all of that sort of stuff a lot. I like to do other things, but I'm not going to be the guy who's going to the gym and running around the track and doing all that sort of stuff. I'll do it in other ways. So an athlete looking at me is going, I don't know whether I really want to go take advice from you. I'm not necessarily overweight. However, the six pack is there. I've just got it fairly well protected at the moment. You know what I mean? So it's really stepping into that image of what the avatar sees as success. All right, John, I hope that helps. Let's keep going. All right. Hey, Peter, is there a code? Done that. Okay, here's the EQ reference. Daniel Goleman, Goleman, is great, apparently. I have quoted him before. Great book, Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman is another reference. Okay. So, yep. Okay, so let's move on to the third slide. Okay, so Daniel Goleman, Emotional Intelligence. So thank you very much for sharing that, Angela and Jolene. All right, the slides are catching up to us. We're catching up to them. Okay, this is why I do coaching, to go and hang out with William Wallace. So I'm in the high street of Scotland last year, and I met William Wallace. I'm going, that's cool. I've just come out of Edinburgh Castle, and there's this guy all done up in the club. I'm going, yep, I've got to have a photograph with this guy. And that's why I do coaching, so I can travel, so I can work, so I can have the freedom to do the things that are, that I like, that I consider to be important. It's transportable. This is the joy of coaching and the joy of being in the area that we work in. Okay, so let's recap what we've done. We've done the 7 keys to developing your coaching business. We've done the complete guide to finding your niche. We've done calculating your hourly rate. We've done the 5 essential mindset strategies. And we've also done, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. These are essential. Okay, these are the 5 keys that we play with. We've got the 7 keys in the first one, but these are 5 areas that are good to get your head around in terms of building the business, of knowing how to build a solid foundation. Okay? There's others, and I could talk for weeks and weeks about all the things you need to know and do about business. However, for the sake of brevity, these are the areas that we've put together for this series. Now, if you've missed any of these, it's okay, because each unit is complete within itself, and then this will go on a rotation. So next fortnight, we're coming back into the 7 keys to developing your coaching business. So just step in and step out of the classes as you need to, and over a period of time, you will get all 6, or you can just stay with us and go from 1 to 6 all the way through. Okay, so let's have a look. Just checking. Right. Okay, let's have a look at it. Mindset for success. That's where we are. So, as we go through this, just keep the questions going. I'm going to keep talking to you guys, answer your questions, and we're going to make some fantastic progress, and you guys are going to build an amazing business. All right, so let's have a look at it. The mindset for success. 7 keys to developing your coaching business. Okay, this is what we were talking about earlier. It's the vision. It's the direction that you're heading towards. Okay, now that, like I said, you can change that as you move along, because things change, you get better understanding of what you do and how you do it and who you want to work with. Perfectly acceptable, because the plan, all our plans are there to support us, not to chain us to a direction that we don't really like or we don't feel connected with. If we're not feeling connected with it, well, then we need to change something or look at what needs to be changed. Okay, so you've got to remember that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And this is what this is about. Okay, so in business, the goal is not to do business with everybody who needs what you have. The goal is to do business with people who believe what you believe. Question. Why do they do what you do? Why do you do what you do? What is your purpose? What is your core belief? Any organisation can explain what it does. Some can explain how they do it, but very few can clearly articulate why. Because why is not about the money or the profit. They're always the result of what's going on and the activity that you do. Why does your organisation exist? Why does it do the things it does? Why do customers really buy from one company or another, which is why we do the SWOT analysis? Everything makes sense. Why do we do the SWOT analysis? We need to know what's going on. Why are people loyal to some leaders or market leaders and not others? You know, there's that whole sense of brand loyalty that people have. Why is that? What's the story behind it? If you looked at my place, I got the Mac desktop, the iPad, the iPhone, the iPod. There was a pattern. I think I've broken it. I'm not sure. But there's a theme. Once you're in there, it's that sense of brand loyalty. It's that sense of whatever the identity that brand is playing towards, you know, exclusive, special, you know, whatever. And then it's not a question of price. It's, oh, I've got to have that because, you know, or it makes me feel this, or I have some sort of emotional connection with the process. This is what's going on. And this is why people will buy from one and not the other. And that's what we want to be working on. So starting with the why works in big business and in small business. It doesn't differentiate. Okay, it's even in there in the non-profit world and in politics. You've got to have that understanding of why. Those who start with why never manipulate because they inspire. And the people who follow them don't do so because they have to. They follow because they want to. All right. So as you can guess, somebody's asking, am I supposed to be able to see slides? I am clicking through. You should see a slide that says a complete guide to finding your niche. Is that everybody's experience? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, okay. If your slides aren't working or moving, log out and log back in again because the issue's back with you and there's nothing I can do from this end. So while everyone's got stuff going on and can see it, okay, thanks, brilliant. Appreciate that, everybody. So that tells me that, Belinda, you need to log back out and log back in again, or just go and download the slides from Facebook and listen to my voice. Okay, I want to empower people for a resourceful and passionate life. Is that your vision? I'm not sure if that's a question or how that's going, but if that's the vision, well, then you build the business around that. Oh, hang on. I get it. That's your niche, isn't it? Of course. Duh. That's what we're talking about. All right, Sharon, don't post again. I got it. Yes, it is your vision and it is part of the niche that you're in. Okay, so your niche is an area of speciality that is refined and requires expertise. Okay, it's the marketing of a product or service to a small and well-defined segment of the market. So what we normally say is it's an inch wide and a mile deep. Okay, you want to be the expert and you want to be known for one thing. And that's what we're talking about with the niches that we were talking about before. If you have different things going on, you want to be known for one thing. So when I'm going and talking to people who require our gardening and landscaping services, I'll put on the high vis, I'll put on the steel cap boots, I'll go visit them in the ute, and I'll have a discussion with them like that. Even if I'm going to do a quote, I put that on because then they see me as the tradesman, and then they're connected with me, and then they know that I know what I'm talking about because I presented myself to them, because I become the avatar. They need to see somebody who understands them, understands the needs of the property, who is an expert, who is a horticulturalist, who has the expertise to be able to meet their needs and go that little bit further. I dress according to what their picture of the avatar is. If I turned up as a business coach in a suit and tie and went, yep, I'm here to do that, they're going to look at me and going, okay, so you're just a guy who sits in the office, then they'll want to know, what do I know? So why would I want to put those barriers there and create that levels of resistance when all I have to do is change my clothes, put the boots on, drive out in the ute, and bang, I've got it sorted. However, if I go to a business coaching, I'm not going dressed as a tradie with my boots on, because they're going to look at me and going, that's a complete disconnect. Same story, okay? So when I go and do my business coaching, suit, tie, whatever has to be done, and I'm driving out in the sedan. It's becoming what my avatar sees as success. Okay, so let's have a look at it. The question is, why would you niche? I'll tell you, 4 reasons. It's about the money. You can make much better money in the niche because you are the expert. It's the understanding and depth of the expertise so you can help other people. It's easier to market. So when I'm talking to the gardening, the landscaping people, whatever the conversation, they don't know that I'm a business coach. Has no idea. I don't even connect with them on LinkedIn or Facebook or anything else. They're different clients, different thing. It's all different. So I never have that conversation with them. Now, when I'm business coaching, I'm not talking about gardens and all that sort of stuff until they say, well, what's your experience in business and what have you done? Well, then I go, well, this is what I've done. I've been in business since I was 23. This is my background and this is what I do. I also have this other business that's going at the same time as working with you. That brings it in. I'm not selling horticulture to them, but the horticulture is then used to back up the expertise of, I know what I'm doing. I've done startups, I've run businesses, and I've done it for a long time. So that one in that example has a way of giving me some kudos. The other way, if I was talking to the gardening client, it wouldn't. It would disconnect me completely. Okay. So let's have a look. Now, give me some feedback. Who, since we've done this class, we did it a couple of weeks ago, what's been your experience with your coaching? Because everyone who was on the call posted that there was going to be a change in their hourly rate. Some were going from 150 to 250, from 150 to 250 per hour, and there were all sorts of changes of rates that people were talking about that they experienced from the beginning of the session to the end of the session. Now that you've had a couple of weeks of implementation and running it through, what's been your experience and where are you at now? A minimum of 125 to 150 per hour. Base calculated rate is 125. Great. Okay, nice. Okay. What's the experience been with your clients? This is to everybody. Have your clients just accepted the change because physiologically you've changed? You've had more certainty, you've had more clarity, you've had a lot more of a peacefulness with the price that you've got? What's your story? All right, so while you're doing that and thinking about it, because I'd really like to get some feedback from you, let's have a look at it. What is 1 hour of your time worth? And remember, go back to the story that we had earlier about the cost of marketing. This impacts upon your hourly rate. What is the cost of your marketing? Because when we did this class, we talked about writing your personal budget, we talked about writing your business budget. How much have you put into your budget as your marketing? And the marketing isn't the telephone, it isn't the car, it isn't the website, it isn't a whole lot of things. What it is the time it takes you to go and have a coffee with somebody, to sit down and write your proposal, your fees for your different social media sites, maybe your hosting fee for your website, your web developer, your graphic designer, all of these sorts of things, people who are if you've got SEO going on, or the cost for the fees for your CRM. All of these sorts of things become part of your marketing budget. And you can be throwing money hand over fist going, oh, I've got to have that, I've got to have that. But the question is why? You need to be able to stand up and say to anybody, I have this social media site and I spend $40 a month on this because it gives me this. What's the equation? You spend 40, what does it give you in return? If you have an online calendar that costs you $200 a year, what's the return on that investment back to the business? What does that save you? It could be by having the online calendar, it saves me having to do 2 hours of work each week. So therefore that saves you, that $200 saves you at that rate that somebody's put up, that saves you $300. But say, well, their rate is 2 hour, 150 an hour, and if it costs you 2 hours, that's 300. So it saves you $100 a week straight up, and it's made a return on investment in the first week. The rest of the year, it's just money being saved all the way through. You need to know the equations that run through. The cost of marketing, you really need to be able to have a really good idea of what it costs. And if you don't know, that's okay. This is why we bring this subject up early on, because this is a great place to start instead of just getting out there and being really busy and going backwards in your finances. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the comments. My pro bono to 125. My clients acknowledge the value and are happy to pay. Brilliant, nice work. I have clients remaining on the old rate and new clients are the higher rate, depending on package that they sign up for. And that's great. I'm glad you said that, because it is, I like that model, because if somebody signed up with you for a particular rate, well, then you just keep it rolling through. However, the next lot come through, they get the higher rate. So I'm glad you said that, because then I had the opportunity to share it as well. My avatar don't feel would pay if the rate is higher than $100. Okay, all right, that's fine. So long as you know what the price point is for your avatar, then you've got to work out the cost on that. And it might be that you might want to have a look at another avatar and have two going and find one that puts it into a higher price point as well, because you've got to be considering what's the cost of acquisition for that avatar. If they're paying $100 an hour, how many hours are you going to get out of that client? So how many hours do you spend getting them? And then how long are they there with you, and what's that equation balance out to? Okay, marketing is $40 a month on Facebook, social media, and printing is $250 a year. Okay, that's part of it. And then it's also the coffee chats, the proposal writings, it's all the stuff that you're doing with the client in the non-billable hours. That's all part of your marketing budget as well. Because if you're spending time working preparing for one client, that's time that you're not spending for somebody else. So that has to have some sort of a value on it as well. I'm offering pro bonos $125 per hour against $150 standard rate. I've had a very positive response so far. Brilliant. Nice work, Graham. I like that, because it's acknowledging the pro bonos and acknowledging the fact that they've been with you, so you're giving them a rate that is special that nobody else can get. So that's a great point to make. So thanks for that. Loving the practical breakdown. Oh, thanks very much, Rachel. Because this is it. This is the class we can do it. We can do it on Facebook. However, if we get it real time, we can really work with you guys to move forward quickly. So thanks for that. I do the discounted pro bono rate as well. Great. I like it, but let's not call it discounted. Give it another name. Do what you're doing. However, don't use the discounted. Give it another name. So what is another name we could call it? Because discounted means that it's been, it's discounted. It has the potential to sound like it's been cheapened in some way. So is it a special rate? Is it an exclusive rate? Do you get it? So you're still acknowledging and doing everything. Okay, so here's a few ideas for you, Liga. A loyalty rate, rewarded, a VIP rate, a summer special. There you go. Anything in that sort of rate, what we're saying, would be much nicer than a discounted rate. Okay, it's a loyalty rate, the same as Graham was saying, recognizing the connection and what people have done earlier. Okay, so something like that will connect with your pro bonos, and it elevates them in your mind and in their mind, and will get them connecting with you a whole lot more. Okay, because how many places have you been into that have the reward cards or the loyalty cards? They're not giving you discounted coffee, but essentially they are. You buy 10 coffees and you get one free. So what's that work out? They're discounting your coffee by 40 cents every time you come in. They're not saying that. They're not giving you a 10% discount for coming in. They're saying, buy 9 coffees, we're going to give you the 10th one free. For them, the cost of a coffee is about 50 cents at the most. Okay? They're selling it to you for $4. So they're not going to discount because then it just makes it cheaper and it makes the rest of the place look cheap. So they have the loyalty cards or the reward cards. Okay, brilliant. Awesome, great ideas. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you again. Great, thanks, Lega. Okay, that's what we're doing. What time is it? 1:45. And we're trotting along quite nicely. We might even finish on time. Yeah, maybe. We won't make promises just yet, but we'll certainly aim towards it. Kidding. Of course, we're going to finish on time. Okay. Let's have a look at it. What are we up to? Show me the money. Why have I got a slide or a note that says the same thing twice? I don't know. All right, just give me a moment while I have my seniors moment to get that sorted. All right, so let's move on. Initially there was an increase in dollars for hourly rate, retained by pro bonos who converted to paying clients for the same initial price that I quoted and available to them until end of the year, given their generosity. Recently stretched to implement a retainer model. Benefits are time, consistency, and notice different type of client. Okay, and that's what you want to do. Play. Find out what your avatar really does, because we're in our heads a lot, and so you need to get that idea that you've got to get it right before you can get it out. Just get it out there, okay? So recently stretched to implement a retainer model, and that's worth investigating, because then you've got to be able to demonstrate the benefit of having you on as a retainer. What is it that they're after, and what is it you can offer them, and how is it having you available at that, for those times, how is that going to make a difference to them? So that's the question, is always, what's the benefit back to the client? Is there a table of values that you've got that will then demonstrate the benefits that you can bring? Okay, so it's good to be stretched and you test it. The only way you're going to know whether any model works is to get it out there and to get some feedback from your clients to find out what's really working. Okay, so the benefits are the time, consistency, and a different type of client, because they're going to connect with you in a different way because they've got you as a part of their team. You're an outsourced coach that is essentially part of their staff, and but they haven't got the high-end costs that are associated with it. So it's a different client, because now they're not thinking about, oh, can I afford her, or what should I do, or whatever. It changes the mindset because they know they have access to you because they've paid for that retainer model, and the results should be quite different again. So keep us posted as to how that goes. Alrighty, so let's have a look at it. 5 essential mindset strategies. Okay, when we did this, we talked about 5 keys that we should be playing with as an overview. Key number 1, now I'm going to talk fast, so you need to listen quickly and write fast. Okay, key number 1, you must take control of how you interpret the world. Okay, because these essential mindset strategies are essentially coaching principles. Okay, key number 2, you must believe it is possible. Key number 3, take 100% responsibility for the results that you get. Key number 4, you must get rid of the secondary gain. Now, I'm assuming that you guys understand what I'm talking about because these are your coaching principles coming through here. Now, if you need me to explain any of these things, just type it in and we'll have a conversation around it. Now, key number 5, you must be willing to explore and embrace the unknown. Now, the reason that I had turned that into a whole webinar is because they're coaching principles, they're principles that we want to have operating in our lives. They're the principles that we want our clients to be adopting and applying to their life as well. And if you're on the call, I put the challenge out to you and said for 10 days, live as though this is 100% true. Who on the call is going to be giving me some feedback on their experience? Who did it, and what was your experience as a result of doing that? Because to do that means that you need to take responsibility for a few things that are going on. Taking 100% responsibility for the results that you get, when you clearly know it was that other person who could have done whatever. You take responsibility, flip it back and going, okay, what is it that I did in that I could have done differently, that I could have done better? Have a look at the secondary gain that plays out. Why are you doing what you do, and what do you get as a result of doing that? Is there some sort of emotional payoff? Is there some sort of thing that's going on? What is it that's happening? Are you willing to explore and embrace the unknown? Okay, here's some feedback. It took almost 3 months to go 10 days in a row. Accountability of thoughts, words, and deeds. Yeehaw! I love the fact that you persisted, Lynn. That's awesome. And it is. We are human, okay? And I'm not saying that to give you an excuse, but we are in our heads a lot. And sometimes we forget, we get caught up in the busyness of life. And I love the fact that it took you 3 months, because that meant you were focused on it and it became important to you. Okay, everything that I give to you guys, I want you to grab a hold of it and run with it. However, it can only be if you make it important for yourselves. Essentially, I'm opening the door. It's up to you guys to step through it. And hats off to you, Lynn, for stepping through and having that experience. And then to make it part of your life. So you've gone 3 months, you've been working at it. Make it part of your life in everything that you're doing. And notice what's going on. Yep, started to notice some unresourceful patterns attracted my first retainer client. Sweet. Okay, these are the results. Did it. More focused. Live it to the best I can every day. These are my mantras. Love it, Rachel. Brilliant. The essential mindset strategies are a total shift in mind frame. A great refresher for me right now. And that's what it is. Brilliant. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, here you go. Lost 5.9 kilos in 6 weeks. Reviewed every week. Not looked at what I did wrong. Looked at what I could do differently. Checked my emotions and how I could address it without it being about food. Nice. Okay. So now I can market that class as a weight loss class as well. But that's brilliant. I never even had that in my mind, that by doing all of that the shift would be able to do that. So I'm so pleased for you. Well done. Because that's what it is. You start taking responsibility for everything that's going on, and then you look at everything differently and going, why am I doing this? Why did I say that? Why did I eat that? Why did I drink that? Do I really need that smoke? And if I do, why do I think I need it? Now imagine the conversations you have with your client when you notice them running unresourceful patterns. Having that experience as your experience, do you think you can speak to them as more of an authority now? I think you can. When you talk to them about mind shift and you've got that sort of an evidence trail running, and they go, oh, it's easy for you, you're going, no, it wasn't. It wasn't easy, but I made it important, and that's the difference. Because I'll always throw it back at you going, oh, you're a coach, it's easier for you. No, it's not. It's not easier for us. We're not super beings, we're not different, we're not special. However, we've learned some stuff and we've made it important because we can see the benefits. Okay, let me keep going. We had a Facebook group started by Vanessa Medling called the 10-Day Mentalists, and we championed each other. Oh, cool. Okay, nice work. I love it. The support that comes through as well. Like-minded people together. Oh, that was brilliant. I like it. I have noticed my secondary gain is staying safe. I'm working on changing that. Nice. Well, then that's it, isn't it? You must be willing to explore and embrace the unknown. Go bungee jumping. That'll give you the opportunity to explore and embrace the unknown. What is it like falling off a solid object into the void below? Great place to start to explore what does it take to make that leap of faith, to go and do something different? Don't you want it that the only regret in life or the regrets that you have in life is that you don't have enough regrets? Because you've gone out and done a whole lot of stuff, you've explored a whole lot of stuff, you found a whole lot of things you like doing, you found a whole lot of things you don't like doing. Okay? Staying safe is just having the same meal every night, going to bed at the same time, doing the same thing, having your pattern because now you're in a controlled environment. It's getting out there and just doing it a little bit differently. It is absolute surrender. True, thanks. Nice. Okay, so let's have a look. Alrighty, let's have a look. Okay, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Business planning is one of those things that most of us think we should probably do, but we just don't do it. You've got no idea how many business owners I speak to that don't have a business plan. Or when they started the business, they had a business plan because they needed to present it to the bank so then they could get the loan for the capital to get the thing started and have never looked at it since. Or the business plan, I haven't got time, or I'm getting around to that, or insert excuse here. Because if it's not important, I can't make it important. They need to know why, which is why we talk about the vision, which is why we talk about the direction, about the goals that you have. What's the bigger picture that you have for your business? You know, why are you in business? What is it you're doing? You know, it's what we talked about. Is it the job that you're creating for yourself? You know, is it the freedom? Is it? Is it freedom? Or are you building an asset that enables you to then have people who work for you to do things that really work? It's all like we talked about Michael Gerber's book, The E-Myth, which is on your recommended reading list. It's working on your business, not in it. You want to build in the systems, the processes, the procedures. So you're building the asset, and that asset can be sold. You can have other people come in and work it so you can go off and do stuff and money's still coming in. Do you have your online portal? Do you have your products online? Do you have your courses that you can then get other people to do? What's happening? What's working? You've got a plan. You've got to do your research. We've talked about SWOT analysis. You've talked about all the other bits and pieces that have gone on. It's the research that makes a difference. Don't get lost in it because you've got to work with clients today, whether they're pro bono or paid. You've got to have your clients right from the beginning, and you're working alongside planning and having clients. There's nothing to wait for. You've got the skills. Nothing happens unless you plan. These are some comments. Thanks, Jennifer. Maybe they don't know how to do a business plan. And it's true. They don't. But then they don't ask how either. So it's about that, what's important. And while they're busy in doing business, well, then the other things aren't important to them. Okay, the code, so you can go, is TCI, and I've got it written down here somewhere. The code is TCI 568. TCI 568. Now, I'm just going to finish off the last slide, but I know that you guys have got other things you need to do. So if you oh, that is it. Brilliant. I finished on time. Woo. I only took 6 webinars to get there. Okay. All right. So thank you very much. I really appreciate your attendance through the 6 sessions that we've had, and I'm so happy for you that you have now completed one section of your assessment. So sometime through the day or tonight, celebrate, acknowledge that you've got it, that you've got your assessments, that you've completed it all. celebrate, acknowledge yourself, and get ready for the next lot of webinars and the next level of learning and implementation in your business. So thank you for sharing this with me and letting me have the opportunity to speak into your lives and to teach you a little bit more. Keep connected. Connect with me on Facebook. Talk to me through the TCI website or come and befriend me somewhere else. But I'd love to know how you're all going and what your wins are and how the business is growing. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Really appreciate your attention and all the connections that we've had, and heaps of people saying goodbye. So the code once again is TCI 568. Okay, so thanks very much, John, Graham, Jennifer, Liga. Thank you very much. Could I trouble you for the first code as I missed it due to sound dropout? Liga, it's the last one, of course. TCI 215. Okay, so thank you very much. Sophie, Jennifer, Marie, Felicity, Sharon, Angela, thank you very much. Jolene, thank you very much. Look forward to catching up with you somewhere down the track, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you very much, everybody. Bye.